Hey there guys, welcome back to our next video here. So in this video we're going to be looking at the maximum price for our standard 3.1 allocative efficiency for level 3 economics. So essentially guys, our maximum price is going to be when the government thinks that the current price at equilibrium, what we're seeing here at P1, Q1, is too high, okay? So what they're going to do is they're going to introduce a maximum price that this good can sell for. Sometimes it's called a price ceiling, okay? So because they think that at the moment the price is too high, what they're going to do is they're going to set it below, okay? So we'll draw a new flat line across here, all right? And this, we'll call this price maximum, okay? Squeeze it in there, price maximum, all right? Now, the reason that they would do something like this, guys, is to increase the affordability of a good or a surface if the market price is efficient, but it's still not affordable for people, okay? So there's a few examples when governments would decide to do this. So quite a common one is with stuff like rent, okay? So often you'll see governments introducing or calling to introduce, suggesting that we should introduce rent controls, so putting maximum prices on what rents could be. We also see this sometimes with basic groceries, and also we sometimes see this with services like electricity and water, okay? So the governments are doing this with good intentions, okay? But more often than not, it is actually not very good for consumers, okay? So looking at our graph over here, guys, we're going to have a new quantity demanded. That demand curve should be labeled. We're going to have a new quantity demanded and a new quantity supplied. Okay, so as the price goes down, remembering back to level 1, more consumers are going to buy that good at the lower price. So there's going to be a new quantity demanded there. We'll just shift the smaller pen as well. So our new QD in there, guys. QD, we'll call it QD max. Okay, is greater than before, okay? So the quantity demanded has increased, whereas our quantity supplied over here, guys, has decreased, okay? And now the reason that the quantity supplied has decreased is because as there is now a lower price, less producers are going to want to be in the market because there's less money in the market, which is going to mean quantity supplied will decrease, okay? So looking at our graph here, guys, at our quantity demanded and our quantity supplied, there's a difference between the two, okay? They're no longer at equilibrium. So that means there's going to be an excess demand or a shortage, okay? We'll go ahead and we'll do that in red. Okay, and we'll just go over here and we'll write it down. Excess demand. Okay, so looking at our kind of consumer and our producer surplus and our deadweight loss, we're going to draw this line up here. Okay, so this area, I'll just shade it in here, guys. So originally our producer surplus was this triangle in here, guys, right? So it was quite a large, big area in here, just like that, guys. It was this large area in here when the market was at equilibrium. Now that we've imposed this maximum price, our new producer surplus is just going to be this triangle at the bottom here, okay? So that obviously means, guys, that our producers are going to be worse off, okay? Their producer surplus has decreased. They're now selling it at a lower price, which means that they're worse off, okay? Coming over to our consumers, okay? I'll go over here, new color, I'll do it. Actually, guys, I'll just go back and I'll fill this in here. Consumer producer surplus, sorry. Okay, now coming over to our consumer surplus, guys. When we are doing this, it's going to be what the difference between what consumers are willing and able to pay, okay? So they're able to only pay up to where quantity supplied is because they can't buy any more than that because any more of those goods aren't being supplied, so they can't buy them. So instead of us, what some people might think, say if it was a maximum price, with it being like that, not a maximum price, sorry, but you might think that our consumer surplus would look like that, right guys? But these goods in here, in this section in here, they aren't actually being sold because producers aren't selling them. They aren't producing those goods. So our producer surplus is this area in here, okay? Just color that on in. Okay. And we'll write that over here. It's consumer surplus. New consumer surplus. Nice. Okay. So we're not actually 100% sure on if the consumer surplus is increased or decreases. It depends on the elasticity of the curve, which I'll get onto in another video on elasticity of demand. So we'll get to the overall if consumers are better off at the end. But just quickly, guys, looking at our deadweight loss here, the market is no longer allocatively efficient, okay? There's now going to be some people that would have wanted to take part in the market, but no longer are, okay? So this area in here. So that area in there is going to be our deadweight loss, all right? So guys, our producer and our consumer surplus are no longer being maximized, okay? So there's a deadweight loss and our market is no longer allocatively efficient, all right? And then finally, guys, this red area in here, I just touched on it before, it's going to be our excess demand, okay? So there's going to be a shortage in the market. Now, quite often, what this could mean is it could mean a black market or an illegal, some sort of illegal market under the government could pop up. So in cases where there's been rent controls, often people will pay landlords even more under the table. They'll maybe pay them like $1,000 at the start to make sure that they get the apartment or house that they're looking to rent. In other cases, they might be a black market. It sounds almost crazy, but in cases there might be a black market for food, okay? People might buy food under the table because producers aren't supplying the right amount. Okay, so when we're coming to our consumers, producers, and the government in terms of who's better off, some of our consumers are going to be better off. Okay, these consumers who are now paying less for the goods, say rent or food, they are better off. They want to pay the lowest price possible, so that's great news for them. On the other hand, there's going to be a large percent of consumers who can no longer access the good. Okay, who are going to be in the deadweight loss, and they're going to be worse off, okay? So consumers will be both better and worse off, all right? Our producers are going to be only worse off, all right? A lot of them will leave the market, and those who do are going to have a much smaller producer surplus, okay? And then coming over to the government, guys, our government is going to be worse off because if the producers are leaving the market, there's going to be less government tax revenue collected, and less government tax revenue means less income for the government, which is going to be bad for them. It's going to be not good for them. Yeah, alright guys, so make sure to note that down and take some notes from this video. That wraps up this video, and we'll get on to the next one.